games to success stories and everything in between. Catch the brand new vodcast series, Her Story Unplugged, celebrating women's voices on 947.
Another edition of Her Story Unplugged. I'm super excited about this series that we're doing with 947 Drive with Thando. It's one thing to read about somebody, but it's another to be able to pick their brain and find out what it is that makes them the incredible woman that they are today. And joining us now is an author, businesswoman, philanthropist, ladies and gentlemen, Amanda Dambuza. People think like when you're a woman that's like, excuse my language, but kicking ass, making money, changing the game, entering, boardrooms that people otherwise think you maybe would ordinarily not be in, that you may be like a very stiff, serious person, but you're not. So I have a surprise for you. I found a song that I think that you may like on your Instagram, but we have to dance for it. You have to teach me the dance. Yeah, boo. Yeah, boo. Hey. Oh, are we twerking? I love that, Amanda. I love that. When I saw the video, I'm just like, no one would believe me if I told it, so I have to make her dance in person. Do you find that you constantly have to explain who Amanda is? Because people forget that you're a human being first, right?
I am who I am what I am, and there's nothing to explain, and I am a multifaceted human being. Aren't we all, though? Aren't we all? But we always have, we come from cultural backgrounds where we're told, you have to, a girl must do this, a girl must speak like this, a girl must not do that, must not do that. So therefore, I am 100% about flipping that script upside down and say, why not?
And I mean, let's talk about your book, Baked in Pain, because that's almost you, I wouldn't say explaining yourself, but sort of showing what it's taken to get to where you are, right? So humble beginnings, born in KZN, you moved to the Eastern Cape. What was that upbringing like?
Oh, that was traumatic, absolutely horrendous childhood. But I mean, I wrote Baked in Pain because firstly I wanted to confront my own pain. And I was 40 years old when I published Baked in Pain.
Wow.
So it was literally like a coming of age for me. And also to actually say to the people that have been clapping for me all along, because remember, Baked in Pain came after many awards, much recognition, much celebration around my name and myself. And I said, as a gift to the people who are clapping for me, I want you to know who you are really clapping for.
Yeah, like take a page from my book.
Correct. More like where I've come from. So yeah, that's what Baked in Pain was about. It was just that confrontation of a very harsh childhood.
At what point do you find out that your dad has rejected you because you are female?
I was told by the extended family. So we were born in KZN. Then clearly I wasn't born the boy that my dad desired. Then they were literally crumbling anyway. So, but it seemed that the boy child would rescue the union, but it was long dead, right? So when I was born, then obviously they ended, and my mom took us to the Transkei where she herself had come from. So then she also left because my mom was young. She was like 27 years old, came to Joburg to find work and didn't come back. So when we grew up, the narrative was that I was told by extended, that the family that we are orphans.
What was the conversation, right? Because is it your mom has gone to Joburg to look for work, or is it Manlahlile?
No, but it didn't start off like that. It started off as you are orphans, you don't have parents, you don't have a mother, you don't have a father. So I grew up kind of knowing that, and then I think I must have been about 7 or 8 when I was introduced to my mother.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but there was no drum roll. There was no, hey, listen, by the way, let's correct what we may have said to you for whatever reasons we said it. No, it was a non-event, but of course in my head it was an event because one moment I don't have parents and then the next I have a mother.
Yes, and she just walks in and life must just continue.
Yeah, but she disappeared as quickly as she had come.
What impact does that have on a young Amanda? And some, I don't know how you feel about this, but I look at obstacles and trials in life as an opportunity. More than, and you may not recognize it for what it is at the time. But in retrospect, it becomes you are better for it.
Yeah. I actually also think that's just how we make ourselves feel better. When things don't make sense, that's how we make ourselves feel better. But I was definitely baked in that experience, and I was baked in understanding that. And I mean, I chronicle all this in my book, but I was really on my own, and that I had to learn to survive independent of my environment. In fact, in spite of my environment, and to understand that even as a child, what was it that I needed to get on, to get by, to get to the next, and that was hard work.
It's funny because in life there's two choices, right? When life deals whatever cards, or hands you whatever cards it hands you, you either thrive or you don't survive.
Yeah.
What do you think it is? Because I imagine there's lots of young people who are going through, difficult things in their lives. And it's either you succumb to those things or you rise above them. What do you think informed that for Amanda?
I think there was this, there's a big underlying faith element for me, because when things are not making sense, you have to find something that kind of like you have to hold on to. So even back then as a young girl, I always just, all the things I was getting told, you're going to amount to nothing, nobody wants you, the abuse that I suffered. And somehow it just never deeply resonated with me,
Love that.
It just never made sense.
It never stuck.
Never stuck. And it doesn't mean it didn't have a negative impact, but it just, when something inside of you feel like, no man, surely I must be born for something better than that or greater than that. And that's a faith conversation.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because you also, I heard somewhere, I think an interview you did, where you said you didn't really have dreams. Your dream was just to be older.
Yeah.
And to be able to get out of the circumstance of your physically abusive uncle, your sexually abusive other uncle.
Yeah.
And as you came of age, what flipped the script?
I remember, in fact, it was like a light bulb went on. I was 23 years old. I had just finished university and sat down with my mother. She wanted to speak to me and my sister. I'm the youngest, and I have two siblings who are older than me. And she wanted to talk to us, and because it's always been a really tough relationship. We didn't have it because we actually ran away where we were in the Transkei when I was 13. My sister was 15, my brother was 18. And we rocked up in my mom's shack in Shenguville. And, it was a very, very, very interesting time for all people said.
Yes. I can't imagine your mom's look on her face when the three of you rocked up. Do you remember that exact day?
I was quite young. So
really.
all I remember is that I just wanted her to embrace me. I wanted her to tell me everything was going to be okay, But needless to say, that didn't happen. So when we rocked up, it was quite a change for everyone. It was, my mom had a new husband and had never really raised us.
Did she have other children?
No,
okay.
No, it's just the three of us. And so when she called us to come and sit down and have this chat when I was about 23, it was about, I guess, trying to, start to open up the conversation. And let's just say that we are always looking for answers from people, and when we get the answer and it's not what we want, then we either become incredibly distraught or you actually choose another path. And when we were having this conversation, she was explaining herself and why she wasn't there, why she didn't raise us, and I guess in a way trying to give us her side of the story. But there is no side to a story. There's no winning in this kind of relationships where, decisions led to abuse, led to trauma, led to, and there is no, it's your fault, it's not your fault. It's those cards that you spoke about. You were dealt those cards, but obviously as a mother, as a father, or as a parent, or as a caregiver, your job is to look after your children, and if they've suffered as a result of you not being there. So that conversation was, she knew all the things that were happening to us. And
how did she know?
Because she was plugged into the system. She knew, and the same people who were telling us those horrendous things were the same people who also made sure that she knew some of the things. But it's easy to wanna find a villain in a story like this, but there are no villains, there are no victims either. So I'm not a victim of anything. And that moment for me was pivotal, because I realized that, you know what, I can spend the rest of my life trying to find answers. I can spend the rest of my life pointing fingers. It's not really going to change anything. It's just going to make me a bitter person. So I started to really focus on how do I rebuild the foundation that was lost and become the person that I always wanted to become, the grown-up.
Where you attained dreams you didn't even know you had.
Correct.
You then go to Wits University, you study a BSc.
A BA.
A BA.
Yes.
You then in a call center for all 3 months. What were you selling?
I wasn't selling.
Yes.
I was resolving pensioner queries.
Okay.
So it was an life insurance and insurance company,
Okay.
and we would take the calls when the go-go's have not been paid their pension. It was a horrendous job.
I mean, you only lasted there 3 months.
Yeah, and I couldn't, because I was constantly being told the call has exceeded 4 minutes. Oh, no. So I'm not performing well.
Okay,
but I'm like, how
long with the go-go's.
You're taking too long.
I'm
like, how do you tell a go-go who's distressed, hasn't been paid, has walked a mile, that, oh, by the way, I only have 4 minutes to talk to you. so
thank goodness that doesn't last very long. A friend of yours has a project management company that they start up. They want you in as an administrator, and that really sort of springboards your sort of very now lengthy career in project management.
Yes. I actually said to him, it's definitely not going to happen here. But I was still filled with that youth energy and confidence, because I just graduated. I knew I'm gonna get hired anyway.
I've
got a degree. And I'm cute. And I was willing to sit at home and not work, but I knew what I wanted, and that job wasn't it. And I said to this family friend, and he, I'm like, this is my situation. I'm just gonna start looking for something else. And he said, come and try out.
Oh, nice.
I became an intern, a graduate intern. I made tea. So you make it sound like project administration. Yes, that was my title, but I was making tea. I was making sure the workshop rooms where there was pens, there was flip charts, everyone was coming for training, because it had a training leg to it. Everyone was coming through for training, was well looked after. That was my job. But I did it with such great pride, because it was such a wonderful opportunity.
I think that's a lot of what young people perhaps miss these days, right? We're the generation of instant gratification, where things must happen now.
Yeah.
And I must show them on Instagram.
Yes.
But you haven't made the tea.
CEO of nothing.
Exactly. How important is grinding and starting from the bottom in order to firstly have a long career? And I think people miss a lot of lessons along the way by trying to skip steps.
Well, instant things are instant. They are the quality that they are for a reason, right? So and I'm thinking now here, like coffee type preference. Instant coffee versus. And it's all about the quality of the output over a long period of time. And I do think that you don't necessarily have to stop scrubbing floors to be great at what you do, but whatever opportunity you have, you cannot be bigger than it. You cannot be too important for your dreams. So for me, it didn't matter that I was making tea or coffee. I knew that in there, I was getting trained, free training. In fact, I became a trained project manager before I was even practicing as a project manager. Now, I didn't come from a background where I had anyone to pick up the call and phone for backup or
mentorship.
No, like for anything. So I've always had myself to rely on. And that means I'm going to do what it takes, So I think that there is this unfortunate expectation of instant success. But also remember, now these days, you can also manufacture success. So you can just take a photo and post it and you're successful. But only you know the truth. And that's what matters.
Also, when you lie in bed alone at night,
correct,
you know what the truth.
You can lie to the world. You can lie to yourself. So you have to, you whatever opportunity you get, you have to take it as though it's never going to come again. The problem is that sometimes people touch opportunities with such slack, just
where they're not invested in
and
learning and in the
their
process.
ethic is not admirable,
Yeah.
and they reckon, you know what, another one's going to come. I don't come from a world that says another opportunity is going to come. Till today, people will be like, but you are Amanda Dambuza, this thing's going to happen. I'm like, hey, whatever I touch with excellence. I have to have a lasting impact and a lasting impression.
You're also very big on mentorship and on, teaching younger people.
Yes.
Why is that? Is it you not having that sort of structure? Is that what's informed that sort of feeling for you and that passion?
I guess that's the obvious answer. But I'll tell you that when I mentioned, faith and how I feel that drove my ability to survive my childhood, faith fuels determination and hope, So if I've been there and I've proven that you can rise above it and you can succeed, then it must be recorded somewhere in the heavens that I am now doing something with my life. Correct. And therefore passing forward all of that I learned back then. And so on the one end is to say, I know what it's like not to have that person. But I actually also selfishly want to record my own good deeds with God,
I love that. And people aren't honest about that, right? People aren't honest enough about that because we always make like everyone a charity case. But also deep down inside, you want to feel like I did something.
Yeah, of course.
I made an impact.
Of course.
I changed somebody's
I
life.
want the people that and I'm proud to say that I want anyone that I have helped. I don't want flowers. I don't want long thank you letters. No. But when you're sitting somewhere in your home and you're having a nice warm soup with your family and you're filled with so much gratitude that Amanda helped enable something in you, that for me is the prayer I need to keep going with my own life. So it's definitely for me to also bank some of that stuff and to also keep in touch with that feeling that I had back then as a child, which was God will never leave my side, or God would never abandon me. And it doesn't matter what you believe or what you don't believe, but it matters to exist in a world where there's something bigger than you.
Correct.
And I think I was chosen for something bigger than just myself or my circumstances.
There's a lot of responsibilities that come with that when you are the so-called chosen one. Because it is, in fact, it's not so-called. I feel like there is always a chosen one in a family.
Yes.
And I think being a Black female.
Yes.
Because ordinarily, we'll take it back to your father. In his mind, the chosen one would be the son. But God forbid, it's the daughter.
Yeah.
And it was you. What are the responsibilities or the burdens, I'll even go as far as saying burdens, that you experienced after success where you now have to go back to so-called Black tax?
Yo, I thought there'd be champagne here already.
Where is the champagne so we can get into the Black tax? What are they asking you for? Do they want houses?
So we have no idea. But at the risk of sounding petty, here's what I'm gonna say. We all have a responsibility towards our ecosystem, towards our environment, towards the people that we care for. I'm no different. I even had to give up my honors degree to study for my honors because I had to go and work, right? So we all have that responsibility, but I think what is very important is to learn to have those boundaries, because I have been taken advantage of severely. And because I've always been trying to be the good daughter and the good sibling and the good citizen, I'm that person that really does go above and beyond. But there was a time when I got to a point where I had overextended myself. When you start taking bank loans just so that you can meet people's expectations, then there's something severely wrong.
And also you start to fuel it, right?
Yeah, and of course.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually started putting up boundaries. I started thinking about it. I said, these people are not on my wheel. These people, what are they going to do when I'm gone?
They're not on your wheel.
Of course. Why would they even expect anything from me? So, in fact, the very important point is that we enable this dependency, because remember, if you keep getting money you didn't work for, why should you even try to find work? Why should you even hustle anything? So But whatever your responsibility is, if you're okay with it and you have a great relationship with people, that's okay. I think for me, it started to get to a point where, I mean, people won't even call me on my birthday to wish me a happy birthday. People won't even call to find out how are the kids doing, but they know how to find me when they want
When they want money.
They know how to. So there's all those things. And
do you think people think Amanda's fine? Like Amanda's fine. Like we don't have to like wish her a happy birthday. We don't have to, buy her a gift on Christmas Day. Well, she's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like
I think it's not a Amanda is fine conversation. I think there are givers and there are takers in life, and takers don't exist out there. They're right under your nose. They're in your own home every single day. So, they just took and didn't want to give.
Was there a shift once you had children, got married? Because they always say, no, all you got to do is get married, find yourself a man, get some children, and then everyone will leave you alone. Was there a shift?
No, they never leave you alone. Takers take. They want to take. Yeah. So, and by the way, I'm not just talking about family members. I'm talking about people who send me DMs.
Yes.
People who send me WhatsApps, people who email me, asking me for things. And I do so much. I take kids to school. I buy uniform. I'm not going to sit here and chronicle what I do. I do a lot. Yeah. And I don't do it for fame, publicity, celebrity. The things I do are things that are not in the public eye. But people somehow think I always have bucket loads of money sitting, waiting for them to call me and ask me for it. But again, if you don't have boundaries, you're always going to fall into that trap. Did things change when I got married? Not particularly, but the older my kids got, the more I became a little more comfortable with the fact that I don't care whether people like me or don't like me anymore. The more I actually started developing solid boundaries. And of course, my mother is not going to go to bed without food. That's never going to happen. Yes. But even that has had to come with boundaries. That, okay, on the 25th of every month, you get money. So you have to start planning your life around that date. Yes. Not prior, not after. And no, if you want something in between that has to be done, remember that if I have to give you something in between, I will take it out of the one that I give you every month. So that there's a discipline to it all. Otherwise, I don't have a tap flowing of resources. I also have to use them and save for my kids, not save for my kids, but invest in my kids' future as well.
How has being a mom and how you've raised your children, or how you were raised, impacted how you are now raising your own children?
Oh, severely, in the sense that it's possible that I completely overcompensate as a mother, but I'd rather be that mother. So, and when I say overcompensate, I flood my children with love. Like that's one thing they never have to doubt. Yes. I may never have had or hear a parent tell me they love me or nurture me, or because I wasn't really raised in that sense. I grew up, and there's a big difference between those two. But I'm there. I'm a present mom. I encourage them. I listen to them. I don't force anything down their throat. I actually acknowledge my children as spiritual beings.
What do they want to be? Like, I'm sure I know as a mom you're probably not supposed to like tell your kids what they must be when they're older, but deep down inside, I'm sure there's a wish where I wish you decide to do this.
No, never. I want my children to be happy in whatever they do. Now, think about it, Thando. We work so hard so that our children don't have to work for money. And for me, I would have failed as a mom if I don't make sure that my children's future is secure, such that they never have to beg for a plate of food or work for money, but work for passion, and the money comes. So for me, I let my children be, and I know exactly what they want to be so far, but in the future. The twins are 16, so I think there's a bit of settling in terms of where they want to go. They want to go into art and design. So character design, animation, visual art, that type of field. And they've already chosen their subjects. That's what they do. In fact, they just got back from a tour in Europe, art and design tour, Rome, Milan. Florence.
Wow,
They
so
went to every
nice.
gallery you can think of, museum you can
Yeah.
think of. Those are things that matter
That's
to me.
beautiful.
And my son, ever since he was 4, he's always wanted to be a pilot. He will spot an airplane out of the air and tell you what aircraft it is. He'll
Wow.
tell you it's a whatever, I don't want to mention names just in case I'm not allowed to. but he knows every aircraft you can think of. He's highly passionate. He flies airplanes on Microsoft Simulator.
That's crazy.
So it's
you
gaming.
Said how old is he?
He's 12. He's turning 13 in
Wow.
November.
That's amazing. And I think for me, it's about that, right? It's
Yeah.
how fortunate are your kids and kids whose passions are being cultivated at a young
Yes.
age, because that's how you get the best of the best, the cream of the
Yes.
crop. But there are many young people who, I think they're led by fear.
Yeah.
Fear prohibits a lot of people from
Yes.
attaining a lot of things.
Yeah.
How do we overcome that?
Well, I mean, you have two options. You either get on with it and learn as you go. And I'm
Yes.
pretty sure when you started your own business, your own entrepreneurial journey, there were fears, but did that stop you from starting? No. Because if you don't start, you never actually know whether you're going to be successful or not. And in fact, if you don't start something, whatever it is you want to chase,
You will fail.
You've already failed by not doing it. So, and also you are delaying your success
Yes.
by not going for it. And fear is always going to be there. It's just learning how to not let it control you and take over your brain, because the minute it does, then you're just going to be paralyzed. You won't do anything. So push on, build it as you fly it.
I think your story is incredible. It's a story of overcoming pain, adversity, challenges along the way, and coming out on the other side completely victorious. I'm definitely taking a page out of your book, and I thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
947 Drive with Thando.
This is 947.